Hello, welcome back to another of my monologues, and you'll find me sitting in the ballroom here at Trump Turnberry in Ayrshire. This is Trump's hotel. Trump's not here, by the way, just so you know. I'm actually here still with Barbara O'Neill. We've been travelling about a bit, bringing the natural health remedies message to lots of different people. And we're coming towards the end of it, which is why I'm finding little places to do my monologues, and they're a bit ad hoc at the moment. Anyway, I had an email, and I'm going to read a little bit of it from my phone, so forgive me for doing that. And this is from a lady called Mary, and she says, she's really frightened. She says, the government has just announced on LBC, which it was originally London Broadcasting Company, but I don't know what they call themselves now. I think it's the same initials, but something different. Digital ID cards will be mandatory very soon. That's what they say, and she is worried. And I know a lot of people will think that this is also likely to happen and that they will be scared. And we know that probably the government wants that to happen, that everyone will be mandated to have a digital ID. A mandate is a very strange word because it doesn't actually mean what you think it means. People think that it actually means that you have no choice and that you have to have it. But it's not quite what it means. Anyway, she says, I'm really frightened. Apparently that's already in Israel, she says. I don't want to be controlled by the government. LBC have been having phone-ins, and many people, she says, thinks that it's a good idea. She says she doesn't watch too much television. How do we get out of this? How do we take out all our cash out of the bank? Have you a plan for this, Richard? I'm terrified, she says. Well, let me say this to Mary and anybody else who is in a similar position who might be thinking about this. I want you to go and look for your birth certificate. I want you to take your birth certificate out and just have a jolly good look at it, particularly at the bottom. Now, I can't vouch that this is on all birth certificates because somebody in New Zealand said we don't have this written on our birth certificate. And by birth certificate, I mean that thing that actually says a certified copy of an entry. And I'd love to know an entry of what exactly, but that's another story. So if you have a look at the bottom of the birth certificate that you were given when you were of a certain age, it does say, and I'm paraphrasing the exact words because I haven't got mine in front of me, but it does say that this certificate is not to be used as as evidence of identity. In other words, this document cannot be used to prove who you are. And obviously it can't because it's just a piece of paper. And yet everybody thinks that's what it means, and you're asked when you go to the bank to open a bank account or to get a passport or any of these official things is to provide evidence of your identity, and the birth certificate is the number one thing they ask for because it has been Crown copyrighted and was apparently put together at your birth. But this is the thing I want you to think about in terms of what is it called? Digital ID. Sorry, I'm a bit flustered because people are very busily setting up for the meal tonight, and I'm very much looking forward to that myself. The birth certificate, firstly, is not you. It's not actually you. It is about your legal fiction. Actually, they register the placenta. They don't register you. And so if you're clinging to the first name and the surname as a joinder in capital letters when they write to you, then yes, that person may well have to have a digital identity. But I'd like to ask you this question. How can anyone identify anyone else? How can they do that? Because if the birth certificate itself says you cannot use this certificate as proof or evidence of identity, and somebody says, well, you're Richard Vobes, aren't you? And you say no. How can they prove it? They might show you pictures, they might show you videos, they might say, but this is you. How will they evidence that it is you? Because they cannot use the birth certificate, because when you're born, you don't have a picture of you as when you were born. And annoyingly, as you get older, your face would change anyway from a baby's face to an adult's face, so it can't possibly be you really. They wouldn't be able to vouch for you because you suddenly look a bit older. And actually, what are you? These are the questions we really need to ask ourselves. What are you? Are you just a physical thing with arms and legs, or are you something else? Are you a spirit? Are you a soul in a body? Because if that's what you are, then no name comes with you as you be a soul. Your mum and dad have given you a name, and it's up to you to take it. The government have registered a name in your name, the government have registered the name your mum and dad has told you they are by using your first name and then your surname and joining them together to create a legal fiction, an ens legis, but it's not you. And I ask, how will they identify you? Now, the problem is lots of people are going to go, yeah, I'll have that because I do want to go abroad. Yeah, I do. I want to go in this pub and I want to be able to drink. Yeah, I want to be able to get on a train. Yeah, I want to have a bank account. And these things will suddenly say, oh, where's your digital ID? You can't have these things. So that is the problem. But it's what they're registering is not your name anyway. And to get a bank account with the fiat currency, it's not your money anyway. All of this stuff is not to do with you. And this is why we need to build a new world, a new system, to get out of their jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction can only offer you fake titles to things, not real things, not real places. Everything is fake and made up and for the legal fiction. I don't think that they can absolutely identify you as who you are unless you give them your consent. But they might make it awkward for you so that you feel like when the jab was around that you have to give them your consent, that to go abroad that you have to have a jab. They may say the same, that in order to go abroad you have to have a digital identity. But remember, not all of us have to do that, and there's more of us than them. And at the end of the day, if we say we don't want it, how do they implement something if nobody wants it? These are the questions we need to be asking. I'm not saying I have the idea or the plan, but just work out who you are and what you are and see, without the birth certificate, how can anyone identify you? Thank you very much.